welcome back to the Elyse DeLucci Show, episode 56. How are you doing? We're live from my mother's Lenai, still in Naples, Florida. This, I feel like, is like a continuation of the last episode because I'm still here. My family just left and still here on vacation. I'm flying back to New York today. And here we are. Fact of the day. Brooklyn, New York, was originally called Breckelen or Brooklyn. Basically, it was Dutch. It was a Dutch word, Brooklyn. It was spelled Breuckelen. Brooklyn was founded in the 1600s by the Dutch, and it was a farming, settled. The Dutch settled there in early 1600s, and it was a farming village. And they had a motto, and their motto for Brooklyn at the time was, "In unity there is strength." And I feel like that's kind of still a Brooklyn motto. I mean, now we see signs around Brooklyn that says, "Forget about it," but that's okay. But Brooklyn in Dutch, the translation is broken land. Broken land. So, how are you doing? You listening to this straight from the last episode, or is this just a new thing? Because if you are listening to this from the last episode I was talking about, being in Florida with my family and my grandmother. She's 90 and she's getting older, and she wants to go shopping every day and all this stuff. And I started to think about, what happens when you get older and you have spent your life taking care of your family or your grandkids, and now you get older and you need people to take care of you. You can't just jump into your Mazda and drive on down to Burlington Coat Factory because you want to go scour the women's racks for a few hours. No, you need your family, someone to take you there, somebody to do that with you. In the case of my grandmother, somebody to help her read the price tags and read the clothing labels, and that's where she gets her little high, her little hit. And it's hard. It's hard for sometimes for the family. I felt so much guilt this trip for whatever reason. I told my sister a few times I felt guilty because, I hadn't taken a vacation in a long, long time. I haven't gone away in a long time. This is actually my first vacation in 3 years. I can't even believe it. 3 whole years. Because 3 years ago, I was at a different job, a different corporate job, and I was there. And I got laid off, and it was really devastating to me because I loved that job, and I was there for a long time, and I just loved it. I loved it, and the people that worked there were like my family, and I really, really loved it. And when I got laid off, I was devastated, and then I actually wound up getting divorced. And when I got divorced, I went through that, and then I just stayed off for a little bit. I stayed not working for a bit, and I was just doing stand-up and raising my kids. And then I got another job, the job I'm at now, and then the pandemic happened, and voila, 3 years later, and I can't believe the time flew. So this is my first trip in 3 years, and I had a great time, but I didn't want to go shopping on this trip. I don't even like to go shopping in New York all the time. I don't want to wait online. I feel like I'm at the tail end of the millennial generation or something, and I don't want to wait online at stores. I don't want to spend my life shopping. Everything gets delivered. I've been involved in a delivery culture for the last few years. Amazon's overnight, rent the runway, clothes deliveries, couriered to the house. I don't buy clothes, I rent them. It's like what, so it's a whole thing. And so I don't want to go to these stores and schlep. Don't get me wrong. If I need something, I'll go. I'll go to the store. If I want to get my bargain hunting high, I'll go to the stores. When Loman's was open, I'd love a good fight over a designer bathing suit. But no, I just don't want to do that. So I felt so guilty. My grandmother, she would wake up in the morning, sit on the lanai, have her coffee, and then she would say she wants to go to TJ Maxx. And like, really? You want to go to TJ Maxx? It's 90 degrees outside. People are half vaxxed here. You don't really have to wear a mask at the beach. Or we could go to the beach in the clear blue, beautiful water, and we could see the water. Or we can go for a walk. Or we could just go sit on the water at a nice restaurant and just live our lives. I don't know. I've been living in an apartment for the last God knows how long, locked up in quarantine. I want to live. I don't want to go into fluorescent lights in a poorly air-conditioned store and look at DKNY sports bras that with price tags half fallen off. I don't want to do it. But what do you do? What do? It's like, this is just what you do. Sometimes these, the older people, I'm not saying my grandmother, but just in general, it made me think about that, just how the older you get, the more you realize how little of life is in your control. Just in general. Like sometimes I think, God forbid something happens. I could go tomorrow. We never know when our last day is going to be, right? And that's out of our control most often than not. But in terms of just aging, just getting older, if you have the good fortune of living till you're 90 years old, you're bound to lose some of your stuff. Maybe your hearing and your vision, or your walking, whatever. And so when you realize that you're losing all that control, when you stop driving, or when your license gets taken away, your car gets taken away, we've all heard these stories, that you take the father's car away, and all of a sudden they might pass away soon because they feel like that was their freedom, So it's like sometimes what maybe could seem as like unreasonable demands might be their way of trying to exert control. And also I thought, well, is the request of making a demand, or saying, I want to do this and this is what we have to do today, or I want to go here, this is what I really would like to be doing, and then having everybody go along with it. Is that action, that ask, that demand, whatever that is, does that feel as vital and important as just the younger people around them? I don't know. Just a thought. It's just a thought. And, I'm not my grandmother. She's positive. But when I was young, I worked in a nursing home, community service when I was 15. Thanks, Mom. That was a hoot. No paycheck. Wow, great. I was there playing bingo and doing nails. But I know when I worked there were so many people. They were like curmudgeons, these older people. I mean, some of them were batshit crazy, don't get me wrong, running around saying, Ronald, where are you, Ronald? And it's like, your husband Ronald died 40 years ago. Hate to tell you, ma'am. But some of them they would go around like curmudgeons. And were they curmudgeons because they had family and they just had to be in the nursing home, and they wanted to be home living their life? Or were they curmudgeons because they just feel that life handed them a bad hand or whatever? But when I really started looking into it, I read that there's in your brain, the frontal lobe of your brain, as that ages, it deteriorates. As you age, the frontal lobe of your brain deteriorates, and that presents apparently as curmudgeon-like behavior, or causes curmudgeon-like behavior. So basically, I don't know. When you're with somebody old and they say, and you sit in at the diner and they're like, you know what, I'm just gonna take the fork and knife because I deserve it. And then you're like, what do you mean you deserve it? You're crazy you're swiping forks and knives and putting them. Who wants that dirty silverware? Put it back. And they're like, no, I want it because I God forbid I have anything nice. That kind of curmudgeon behavior. That could be because there's some deterioration of the frontal lobe. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I think it's also that the older people, they also just want attention. For me personally, I think they feel that they're losing control of their own life as they realize they're getting older, or they see that their wits are going, or their motor skills are going. I think it's that, but I also think that they want control. I'm sorry, not control. Sorry, attention. They want attention from you. I mean, my grandmother, her husband, my grandfather, he died, and I think she was only 54 years old. And she's lived almost a whole nother life without her husband, alone, by herself. She lives alone. She lives in Brooklyn. She was driving up until a few years ago. Now she doesn't drive, and everybody goes and visits her, or she spends time at my mother's house and my aunt's house or whatever. But when she's not with my mother and my aunt, or at their house, or when we're not, or when the family's not visiting her, and definitely because of the pandemic, she's not getting any attention. What's her excitement? Her excitement is watching something on Channel 11, the Channel 11 News, or the Tonight Show on basic cable. She doesn't use the internet. She doesn't have an iPhone. She has a flip phone that she's glued rhinestones to, and it plays, I think, the Macarena when it rings. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, they need attention. So as they get older and they make these demands, or they insist on certain things happening, or things people doing things a certain way, i.e. going to TJ Maxx. Well, like I said in the last episode, she told me, stop using so much toilet paper, Elyse. It's only 3 squares per visit. I was like, oh, thank you for trying to control how much toilet paper I should use in the bathroom. Okay, please. I'm a grown woman. I'm a mother. And you want to know what? If you want me to go down to the Walmart to buy my own toilet paper, I will. So I can have control over my toilet paper usage. Thank you, Nani. But but I don't know. Overall, older people, when they want to do something that they would normally be able to do, and they're not able to do it, there's a combined effect of helplessness, I think, and also even some wounded pride in asking. You know? And that in itself makes you just feel, that must make them feel uncomfortable or grouchy, you know? Can you imagine if you couldn't go into the refrigerator and grab a can of soda and open the can of soda yourself? You have to go and ask somebody, anybody, your great-grandchild, whoever, can you walk to the refrigerator and get me the can of soda and then open it? You know, I mean, that must just be so frustrating. I don't know. How to care and deal with aging parents and grandparents is definitely a hot topic. I didn't really think much of it because my mother's in her 60s, and luckily I don't have to think about that. My father passed away, so he is not around, and I didn't have to deal with that either. So this is sort of my first rodeo, and it's hard. It's hard. But anyway, that's that. That is that. I read a great story the other day about Larry David. You know Larry David, also from Brooklyn. Thank you. Also from Brooklyn. But Larry David, creator of Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm. I love him. I was reading this article about him, this funny story. When he was growing up, he was from Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, and his parents, they wanted him to be a mailman. Isn't that so funny? They wanted him to be a mailman. And he was talking about his childhood in Sheepshead Bay and how he grew up and how he became who he is, how his childhood shaped him to become who he is. And when he said when he was growing up, his parents wanted him to become a mailman. You know, and it's obvious he wound up becoming a comic and yada, yada. But he said that the article was about when he had a Broadway show a few years ago. He had a Broadway show. And he went back to Brooklyn. He went back to Brooklyn, back to Sheepshead Bay to go see his childhood apartment. And he was standing in the cement courtyard right off the Bell Parkway. And he was saying, you know, reminiscing. And he was saying, this was my little world. And he saw the identical 4 red brick buildings standing there, the apartment buildings. And he was saying, when I was growing up, and when you wanted your friends to come out, you just scream out the window, come out to play. And he talked about how they used to play Skelly, and they used to have fist fights. And he, you know, and he was sort of recalling all of these things. And it's funny because in the article, he was like really happy, reminiscing all about this stuff. But it's totally different than his Krabby Patty on-screen personality. But he said that his parents, they wanted him to be the mailman, and he wanted him to be the mailman, and it didn't happen. And he said he took a lot of odd jobs, you know, when he got out of college, and he didn't know, you know, what he really wanted to do. And then his mother sent him to see a psychiatrist. And he said when he went to the psychiatrist, he was kvetching the whole time. He was complaining the whole time at the psychiatrist, and that was it. That was it. The thought of just complaining and sitting in front of the psychiatrist was what stuck for him, and what got him into performing. And he then, I think, he showed up at a comedy club and got into comedy, and that was what he did. He would just kvetch on the stage, and that was the Larry David. That was the start of something wonderful. And can you imagine if the mother didn't send him to a psychiatrist and he wasn't probably laying out on the couch complaining about his life and his parents and Sheepshead Bay and Skelly in the street and God knows what else he was complaining about, and his parents probably assuming that, he wasn't going to do anything grand in life. Not that a mailman's not grand, but you know what I'm saying. If he didn't have that experience, we would have never had Seinfeld and Curbed. I love him. And by the way, let me tell you something. He lived, I heard this, not from the article, but I heard this. He wound up moving into an apartment building in Manhattan called Manhattan Plaza. This apartment building is on 42nd Street, and it's for performers. It's for performers. And there he met Cosmo Kramer, who, obviously inspired the real life inspired the character Kramer, and he met Jerry Seinfeld in the clubs. I think they met at Catch a Rising Star on the Upper East Side, and Seinfeld, which I didn't know, how it's set in Jerry's apartment and the whole thing, that was all based on this building called Manhattan Plaza, where Larry David met all these other performers, one being Cosmo Kramer. And I loved that story. And I loved it. And I thought, what a great New York story. It reminded me also of the story of Barbra Streisand working at the Lois King's Theater in Flatbush Avenue, and how she used to steal Malomars or something when she would work and watch all the movies. I love these old stories about New Yorkers, Hollywood New Yorkers, big New Yorkers that really hit it big, and they talk about their stories from when they were growing up and their childhood in New York. I love it. I just feel like that makes such a good sense of connection, Anyway, let me tell you, when I'm here in Florida, I was in the bathroom one day, okay? And this is also going to tie into product of the week because I want you to try this. I was in the bathroom and the first day or two, and I look on the counter and it's a big giant jar of cold cream. And I was like, oh God, my grandmother got my mother to buy her cold cream because there's no way she would have smuggled that from Brooklyn. It's a huge jar. It's 20 ounces or something. And it made me think, what the hell happened to cold cream? You remember cold cream? You must. I know, because the people, you that listen, my friends, we remember cold cream, or you remember cold cream. My sister, I have a much younger sister who was not here on this trip. She's in her early 20s. She does not know cold cream. But cold cream, you would put it into, you'd take your makeup off with it. You'd put it on your slather, I don't know would you wash your face first? I don't even know. But you put it on your face, you'd slather it on, and then you'd take a rag and wipe it off. And if you watch Mrs. Maisel, she goes to sleep every night, so funny, with cold cream on her face. And I got to thinking, what happened to cold cream? What is even cold cream? And is it good to still use? And my grandmother, she still uses cold cream. She loves it. But apparently, a half a century ago, this was the product for women to use. And you used it to remove all your gobs of makeup, and the cold cream softened the skin. But when you look at the cold cream, so I see the cold cream on the counter, I see this big jar of cold cream, I unscrew the top, and I'm going to tell you which one it was in a second. You unscrew the top, and it just looks like it's fluffy moisturizer. That's it. It just looks like it's fluffy, puffy, marshmallowy sort of moisturizer. And I literally was just is it lotion? Is it makeup remover? I know people used it to remove the makeup. I don't know. One night, the first night I was here, I couldn't find my face lotion. So after I washed my face, I put a little cold cream on, tiny little dot, and I put it on my face. I went to bed, just a little bit of dot. The next morning, I told my sister, she said, you use that as lotion, Elyse? It's not lotion. You use it to take your makeup off. I said, all right, I didn't know. I'm researching it. I don't know. I don't remember. But this is what it is. It is moisturizing makeup remover. The exact opposite of the water makeup remover that everyone sells now. That Garnier water makeup remover that everybody uses, by the way, which is fabulous. Totally different than that. Different than the Neutrogena oil-based makeup remover. This is moisturizing makeup remover. And cold cream was designed to remove makeup and smooth the skin. All cold cream is, which I had no idea. I thought to myself, what the hell is even cold cream? I don't even know what it really is. All it is, it's water, mineral oil, and wax. That's all it is. It's all emulsions of water, mineral oil, and wax, and it all comes together, and it's used to take off the makeup. So, cold cream takes off your makeup. It also moisturizes your skin. I think it sounds nice. The Pond's used to make a cold cream. because my grandmother used to buy it. I used to see it in her cabinet. Pond's used to make a cold cream cleanser. And it was said on the package, moisturizing, deep cleanser, and makeup remover. It had a green top, but they paused it. They canceled it, whatever it was. I don't know. It's hard to find in stores. But the one that my grandmother uses is Jergens. And I have it. I pulled it up right here. Hold on. Let me open my Amazon screen so I could read it to you. Because she took hers home with her to New York. God forbid she left it here. I guess she's checking her luggage, because I don't know how the hell you're taking a 20-ounce big jar thing on the plane. You check in. Anyway, it's Jergens all-purpose face cream, deep cleansing facial cream. So if you go on Amazon, Jergens all-purpose face cream. Let me tell you what I love about this. I don't love the fact of cold, fluffy lotion, face makeup moisturizer. I don't love that. I love the packaging. This packaging is so great. And it made me laugh when I first saw it on the counter. It's a white tub, and the top has a light pink top, and it's by Jergens, and on the packaging, on the sticker, it has 3 pictures of ladies, pretty white ladies. One has blonde hair, one has red hair, and one is a brunette. And they're all wearing makeup and, blue eyes and the lashes and the red lips. And it literally is throwback packaging. They need to have people of color on this packaging. Of course, this would never fly if this was if this packaging came out today. It doesn't have people of color, and most people don't have illustrations of ladies' faces on the packaging, because you all of a sudden then make your product so limiting. Not everybody then could feel like it appealed to them. But that's what it is. You can find it on Amazon. Jergens all-purpose face cream. I don't know how much it is. I'm looking for the price. I don't see what the price is here, but she bought it at Walmart for $3.99. Elyse, what a great deal. $3.99, my cold cream. This giant thing of cold cream from Walmart. You can only find it in Walmart. You can't find it anywhere else, Elyse. All right. But that's what it is. You use it, clean your face with it, moisturize your face with it. I don't even know. I put it on as a lotion. It seemed, listen, it seemed to work for me. Just a little dot, but the cream is pink. It's very nice. It's a throwback thing. I like it. So anyway, I'm so happy that I was able to do this podcast this week and not skip episodes, because I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to get into next week. I'm going to have a whole nother thing next week. My babysitter hasn't been feeling well, so I hope everything is okay with her. I hope it's nothing corona-related, so more on that next time. But I wanted to close it out with a quote, and this quote, I don't know who it is from. I have no idea it's from. I actually saw it online somewhere, and I just thought it was great, and it said there's 3 things in your life that you need to keep private. The 3 things in your life to keep private is your love life, your income, and your next move. And I just think that's great. I'm Elyse DeLucci, live from Florida. Thank you all for listening. I cannot wait to see you all in person. And remember, subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow me on Instagram. And I look forward to talking to you all very, very soon.